Having trouble with navel orangeworm in the orchard? Sidetrack Now Miso Mating Disruption is your best bet to minimize loss and maximize profitability. Used with Tresse's new multi-gender lures for your monitoring program, you can achieve the quality yields you deserve. Contact your local sales rep today.
Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with Pacific Nut Producer Magazine, reporting to you from beautiful Monterey, where the annual Conference of American Pistachio Growers took place. One of the featured speakers was none other than Bob Klein from the California Pistachio Research Board. We always appreciate your efforts to educate the industry on important issues and the research that is underway that's funded by American pistachio growers. And one of the things that we want to talk about in particular is navel orangeworm. Now, growers they hear about it all the time. This is what we need to do. There's different ways of treating it. But I wanted to gauge from you, just how are we doing as an industry in controlling this pest, or at least doing our part to manage this pest with the different tools that are widely available to us now?
We always talk about navel orangeworm management, and we talk about the multiple aspects of navel orangeworm management: overwintering sanitation, monitoring and timely pesticide sprays, use of mating disruption, and then early harvest. And so when we look at overwintering sanitation, usually that involves shaking from the tree, blowing into the berms, blowing off the berms, and then trying to destroy the nuts or till them under in the drive row. And what we see for most growers is that depending on what the weather conditions are at the time, we're probably not even getting 50% of the growers to use all the aspects of overwintering sanitation.
And what encompasses those aspects?
And that would be shaking the nuts out of the tree. We don't ask that you get everything out of the tree because you have all those blanks in there. But then after it gets on the ground, blowing it into the drive rows and then trying to destroy the nuts while they're on the ground, either by just disking them down or preferably by mowing.
Now, with this statistic you're explaining, are you talking about pistachio growers or almond growers as well? Because this is a critical pest for the almond industry as well, if not more of a pest in almonds.
I'm speaking primarily from the point of view of pistachio growers, but even the almond growers in Central California for the last winter, not this current winter, the 2001 preceding the 2019 crop year, due to late rains, they didn't get out there to do much in the way of overwintering sanitation, and estimates within the industry were that less than 50% of the acreage got sanitized. So that's a major concern. So when you couple the lack of sanitation with poor pesticide applications, not following the timing, not being able to cover your acreage in a timely manner, and then not driving at proper speeds or using improper gallonage, we're being really optimistic in thinking that even 50% of the growers are applying pesticides properly. And we combine that then with the mating disruption, and almond growers have been better about employing mating disruption than pistachio growers, but less than 50% of the acreage of either crop is covered with mating disruption. So when you combine all that together, multiply the probabilities of 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5, and you come up with only 12.5% of the growers doing all three things correctly. So we really are trying to figure out why our educational efforts haven't made adequate penetration into the grower community. If we're talking to the same people all the time and they're doing it, or people are deciding that they don't really need to do it in their operation, or why our educational efforts just aren't reaching all the growers.
Yeah, because we're always reporting about it in the magazine and at conferences. We attend a lot. We had several summits and big meetings about about the pest and managing it. But yeah, it is when you think about it, when you bring out the stats, it's kind of pathetic. No offense, guys, but this is a serious issue. How much of the crop, I don't know if you know both almonds and pistachios, but maybe just for pistachios, how much loss do we suffer from year to year because of this pest? Obviously it changes, but where are we at?
Well, if you count all your control methods as part of your losses, because if we didn't have the pest, you wouldn't have that type of control you'd have to do. But if you're making, in pistachios, you're making 2 or 3 pesticide applications, and almonds are making at least one, and mating disruption is running $100 plus an acre, and so you're starting to talk about some serious money being put out there. Then we're still ending up in a bad year with 2% damage in pistachios, and somewhere in the same neighborhood with almonds, up to the same range. And that's 2% of the crop that not only is it of no economic value, but it also creates processing problems in sorting it out to make sure that you can meet consumer demands and foreign government tolerances for mycotoxins in particular. The number we've been using for the total cost of control and the economic losses is in the range of $800 million.
$800 million.
Across,
Yeah, that's
across the tree nuts.
wow. So we've got some work to do. We appreciate all those that have been involved in managing this pest. This is probably the most critical pest of tree nuts in California, right?
Definitely so. It goes across all 3 of the major tree nuts. Pistachios and almonds worse than walnuts, but all 3 of them have navel orangeworm issues.
Well, we appreciate all the outreach efforts that you've been involved in, Bob, and many of the other folks from the UC and from the other universities and our organizations. And we're going to obviously try to be better about it in our publication as well, because I guess we haven't emphasized it enough as an industry. So we're going to do our part, and we would invite growers to do your part. Talk to your neighbors, because you could be applying all these control methods, but if your neighbor's not, they're going to roll right into the orchard. Right?
Yeah, navel orangeworm is a social disease. It's not just in your orchard alone or in your neighbors. It's
Great.
a social problem.
Well, thank you, Bob. Let's work together as an industry. Talk to your neighbors, even if some people have differences that they need to sort out with their neighbors, but get past that. Communicate. Let's get through this. If we expect to get the federal aid that we've been receiving in the past, for like the sterile insect facility and all the help that we're getting from American Pistachio Growers, from the Almond Board, and other organizations, let's do our part. And read more about these things in Pacific Nut Producer Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.